What's up guys, welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here then welcome to our little corner of the internet. Today we're going to be watching a video titled Why Nobody is Allowed on This Island Near San Francisco. And guys, you best believe, well, you guys are always like, you're so kind and like, you know, so chill, and but you best believe this is where my toxic traits come out. Why nobody is allowed on this island. I want to go. What do you mean? What do you mean it's not allowed? Now I want to go. Now this title makes me want to go. That's my red flag right there. I'm not allowed somewhere. You best believe I'll try my best. But how cool would it be to be... Okay, I don't even know what this island is about, so without further ado, let's see what this video is about.
30 miles from the coast of San Francisco, there are a group of islands. You can see them on a clear day.
A group of islands. Oh, wait. Could these be the islands where the tribes live? I don't know, but I've seen that. I think that's so fascinating. I love it. I wish we had more information about like how they live, but I'm so glad that people are leaving them alone and to live at peace. It might not be these ones, but we'll see.
Millions of people are close enough to visit, and almost none of them know what happened here. They look untouched, protected, almost peaceful really. But this might be one of the most disturbing ecosystems on the Pacific coast, because lurking beneath the surface, there's something we put there and never came back for. A combination of islands and jagged rock formations that earned their nickname, Devil's Teeth Island. This is the Farallon Islands. They're part of San Francisco, but unlike Alcatraz, there are no tours here. No ferries take guests back and forth. In fact, almost everyone who tries to land would be facing arrest. And that's as much for their own safety as anything. A 5-mile string of islands, these are small outposts with almost no usable land. There's no infrastructure, no towns, and no development. Some of them are barely islands at all. Some are just black rock covered in guano. But that isolation isn't accidental, it's enforced. Today, the Farallon Islands are a protected wildlife preserve. The government has essentially fenced them off, and the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service...
I feel like we should have more places like this. Like more spaces like this in the ocean and, you know, on ground that should be like just preserved for wildlife. Because, I mean, humans have taken over, which is normal, but the earth is for everyone, okay?
Doesn't hold back when it comes to enforcement. Trespassers can face hefty fines and even jail time. So the question is, why does a place this close to millions of people need to be kept this controlled? Because on the surface, this looks like one of the most protected ecosystems in America. To those who see it up close, it looks like a natural wonderland. It seems like one of the most pristine places in the world. And that's exactly where the contradiction...
What? Do I see penguins? What? Wait, that confuses me so much. Why are there penguins in San Francisco? What have I missed? What? That makes no sense. That makes no sense.
Starts. The Farallons are home to one of the largest seabird populations in the world. Over 250,000 seabirds are scattered across the island. Entire cliffs are covered in nesting colonies, and they're far from the only residents calling these mysterious islands home. Seals and sea lions crowd the shores, and in the waters below, great white sharks patrol the coastline, drawn in by the abundance of prey. Blue whales, humpbacks, orcas, they all pass through these waters. It's one of the richest marine ecosystems anywhere in the Pacific. The Farallons have seen a dramatic...
I mean, humans left this place intact, at peace, and is thriving. See what I mean? See what I mean? There was this one guy that inspired me so much. There was this one guy, not just one guy. He was like, someone so famous, like Walt Disney type famous. I can't remember who exactly, the inventor of like something. And he had bought a bunch of land, being like a public figure and everything. And he had bought like a bunch of land just to like let it be. And I thought that was so beautiful. And he hadn't told anyone, like just to do like I don't know his good part. I'm trying to be like you.
One of the richest marine ecosystems anywhere in the Pacific. The Farallons have seen a dramatic surge in the seabird population. Birds that were thought to be locally extinct have returned. Migrating birds are settling on the island during the winter. For the last few decades, there's been very little human activity in the area. But what makes ecosystems like this unusual isn't just how they thrive, it's how quickly they respond to disruption. In most coastal environments, there's a buffer between human impact and ecological collapse. Here, that buffer is much thinner. Not because the system is fragile, but because everything is tightly connected. Predators, prey, migration routes, and breeding grounds all overlap in the same stretch of water. So when something changes, it moves through the system fast. Which makes the next part harder to ignore. How did America turn one of the most biodiverse islands on the Pacific coast into a nuclear waste dump? And what else is still out there? The development of nuclear weapons was generating a large amount of radioactive waste. As soon as it became clear that this waste posed a risk of cancer, the government...
I said no just as my dog was about to leave and then she sat back down. I'm sorry, I didn't mean you. You can go.
Searched for isolated locations to dispose of it, and the Farallons were in the crosshairs. In 1946, the waters around the island became a nuclear waste disposal site. Over the next 14 years, the island was ground zero, with thousands of barrels of nuclear waste being dumped into the ocean and settling on the seafloor. 2 dump sites, one holding roughly 3,500 containers, the other, the larger one, holding 44,000. 47,500 barrels total, sitting on a seafloor that nobody has fully mapped since they were dropped. What mattered at the time wasn't environmental sensitivity, it was isolation. The Farallons were chosen because they were inconvenient to reach, and that matters. In bureaucratic language, remote doesn't mean empty. It just means a place where disaster is less likely to have.
Why do humans have to ruin everything? Like, why did we have to make that? Why can't we still live in caves? I mean, that wouldn't be very comfortable. I mean, I'm grateful for all the amenities that I can have and for having a bed and a shower and all of that. But why can't the human being is never content? Nothing is never enough, and that annoys me. But I'm the same. Like, it's just I feel like it's the human nature. Right, Vindy? You're the only one who only needs your kibble. You need some food and a few walks, and you're happy, right? Yes, you are. Oh, I love this dog so much, guys.
Witnesses recorded or be immediately corrected. Officially, it was considered low-level waste, but the exact contents of many barrels were never fully documented. Some records are incomplete, some are missing entirely. At the time, there was no centralized digital mapping system for ocean dumping. Coordinates were recorded manually, sometimes estimated based on ship position logs that themselves can drift by miles depending on weather and current conditions. That means even today, scientists don't have a precise grid of where each deposit actually sits. The seafloor here isn't stable. Sediment shifts, submarine landslides, and tectonic pressure mean the barrels may not just corrode, they can move too. Scientists can't map where they started, and they certainly can't map where they are now. What we do know is that the dumping lasted until 1970, when the government ended all ocean-based nuclear dumping. According to the government, there's no risk to the environment from this radiation, as most of it had decayed by 1980. But can they be trusted? There's more than enough radioactive material down there to kill anyone who comes near it. All it takes is one leak. However, it's not known how this affected the sea life during this period, especially the migrating species that spend an extended amount of time on the rocky outcroppings. But at least it was
Imagine the migrating population, like they left their home, and then when they come back, it's just all nuclear waste and Oh, I don't like that.
disposed of safely, right? Well, the disposal process itself raises even more concerns. Details that have been released or leaked have made many people worried that the situation is far worse than the government admits. For one thing, the initial disposal method was to weigh down the barrels with concrete and then drop them in, and that didn't always work. So the soldiers got creative. They reportedly shot them with rifles to make them sink, which means some of them were damaged before they even reached the seafloor. This wasn't hidden. It was legal. It was even approved, and no one questioned it. But what's often missed is how these operations were carried out. Shipments weren't always coming from a single place. Instead, multiple labs, military contractors, and naval facilities all fed into the same transportation routes. So a single barrel might contain a cocktail of materials from different sources. And that wasn't the end of it either. In 1951, the USS Independence, which had been used in atomic testing at Bikini Atoll, was loaded with nuclear waste and deliberately scuttled. The radioactive hull was sent down to the ocean floor where it stayed until it was located again in 2015. It's like they thought the ocean would take anything they threw at it. Turns out it can't. It makes the Farallon Islands feel less like a wilderness and more like a minefield. While the
This is crazy. Like sometimes I hear about atomic testing and I'm like, yep. But then you start to think about it. What are what the human being is so weird. Like this kind of one makes me want to I don't know, move in the forest, be like Eve from the Bible, like make a leaf bikini and just eat mushrooms from the forest, normal mushrooms, just live a simple life out of all of this madness. It's crazy. It's kind of crazy when you think about it. It's kind of crazy.
makes the Farallon Islands feel less like a wilderness and more like a minefield. While the official government line is that the area is safe, there are a lot of unanswered questions. For one thing, the exact location of the barrels isn't known. Neither is their condition. Nuclear experts have said that disturbing the barrels leads to greater leaks than simply leaving them where they are. And retrieval isn't just expensive. Disturbing corroded barrels at depth risks releasing more contamination than leaving them alone. The act of cleaning up could be worse than the original dumping. A sudden breach won't just contaminate the area, it will unleash a toxic cloud into the surrounding waters. The immediate zone will become lethally radioactive, exposing anyone nearby, divers, researchers, passing vessels, to acute poisoning before there's time to react. No warning, no visible signal, just a silent, spreading hazard. So what exactly is sitting down there right now? In 1980, the EPA mapped the region as no one knew if the islands were safe for people or animals. The report stated that the islands were safe, but they did discover levels of radiation in some animals. The official position is that the levels are too low to pose a significant risk, but that comes with a major caveat. No one has actually examined all of those 47,500 barrels, because this isn't just about what was dumped, it's about what's happening to it over time. Steel corrodes, containers weaken, seals fail, and this has been happening for decades, completely out of sight. If a slow leaks...
No, obviously at some point something's bound to happen. If it hasn't yet, maybe there's some type of, marine life that cleans up nuclear waste, who knows? Another thing that I find so freaking fascinating and crazy is that we only know 8% of what's under the ocean, under the sea. Fendi would be better if she was a fish under the sea. Right, Fendi, I love you. I love that she's hanging out with me here. Muy bien.
Started today, it could go unnoticed for months before it shows up in surface-level biological samples. And in the 1980s, ocean radiation baselines were still being worked out globally. So when people talked about safe thresholds, they weren't always based on long-term buildup. More often, they were compared against known industrial exposure levels at the time. And those two things don't always line up. What looks like acceptable in a short-term measurement can behave very differently once it's spread through an entire ecosystem over years. If you talk to government sources, they think the best strategy is to keep the status quo. There is no active salvage mission currently. The radioactive barrels are likely to stay there indefinitely. They've been down there for over 50 years now, and experts say if there were going to be any serious ruptures, they should have happened by now, right? That protective coating on the barrels near the Farallon Islands isn't intact anymore. It's already breaking down. These containers weren't built to last this long. Any attempt to move them now becomes the trigger. The moment heavy machinery makes contact, those weakened barrels will rupture. In other words, intervention doesn't just risk a leak, it will cause one. This means remapping the area, running containment models and simulations. In practice, that makes it more complicated than doing nothing. Stepping in carries its own risks. Environmentalists continue to be concerned about the safety of the region due to the chance of a disaster causing a major release of radioactivity. It's like sleepwalking into disaster. The ocean also doesn't have borders. So if something leaks here, it doesn't stay here. It moves around, it spreads, it reaches beyond the sanctuary. And it's all happening not far from a city of millions. What happens if there was a major nuclear leak near the Farallon Islands? The scariest thing is, no one has a concrete answer for that. If this happens, it'll be a larger scale disaster causing it, a major event that causes an immediate crisis. And if that happens, untold amounts of radioactivity will pour out into the deep. It'll be an existential threat to the ecosystem, and a 20 to 30 mile kill zone will form around the islands. The real danger is what moves through it. Pacific salmon migrate from California to Alaska and back again. Pacific bluefin tuna cross the entire Pacific. Bottom feeders would absorb contamination directly from seabed sediments. And what starts at the bottom doesn't stay there for long. If the concentration of nuclear material is serious enough, it can trigger a cascading chain of poisoning and irreversible damage to wildlife. A very real threat to the native populations that depend on this balance. It'll set
I don't like this.
back decades of recovery work in the protected reserve. For a few already endangered species in the area, that marks the beginning of the end. But the greater danger isn't the proximity.
Are there new species like coming up all the time? Like, because species are, going extinct. Is there new species that get, or how does that work?
It's the invisibility. Particles will disperse into the Pacific and the food chain. From there, it can travel beyond California. Migratory fish and currents will carry radioactive material up and down the west
It's a bad time to be a pescatarian, let me tell you that.
coast, reaching Oregon and towards Asia and Europe. There is no continuous, real-time radiation surveillance across commercial fishing waters. Even the U.S. Food and Drug Administration's seafood monitoring system relies on periodic sampling, not constant tracking. A slow leak from a corroding barrel wouldn't trigger any protocol because no emergency has been declared. By the time contamination levels in commercial fish reached a threshold that triggered testing, that fish
I would probably be dead. By the time that comes out, I've already ate that fish. Fendi, what do we do? Why did mom become a pescatarian? Not good. No bueno.
would already be in distribution. A sustained presence of low-level contaminated fish entering the food chain still leads to long-term health consequences. The concern is not only acute exposure, but the cumulative effects over time. For those in San Francisco, the Farallons are probably little more than an afterthought, a smudge on the horizon on a clear day, a footnote in their lives. Many of them have never visited the waters around the island or even seen them through binoculars. For those who do know about them, they're little more than a curiosity. 30 miles away, and somewhere beneath the surface, 47,500 barrels are doing what steel does when it sits in salt water for 75 years. The ocean has a long memory, and the future of the Farallons and its surroundings may just depend on how long the ocean can keep its secrets. Thanks for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you want to see more videos like this, then please consider subscribing and turn on notifications. It really does make a difference. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time on Map Pack.
That was a really interesting video, honestly. I really enjoyed that, but at the same time, obviously disturbing a little bit, and just, I don't know, it opened a lot of thoughts. But thank you guys so much for joining me for this video. I really hope you enjoyed it. Please leave your thoughts in the comments below. Leave a like, subscribe if you haven't yet, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!